Hello and good morning or good afternoon for most of you, as most of you are in time zones ahead of me, so it's already afternoon for you. But welcome, happy Saturday, and welcome to another episode of Party Chat. This is episode 19 with my usual co-host of, where's my mouse? There it is, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Thank you for joining me as always.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we were a little discombobulated this morning on all sides, so we're lucky to be here and appreciate everybody who's going to be watching.
And a new friend that I have not had the honor of talking with yet, but I discovered him on the podcast of last episode's co-host of Carl of Dojima on his RNG podcast. We have JTPXL. Hello and welcome.
Hello, gentlemen.
Glad
going,
you
man?
can join us, and we can get to know each other a little bit better and talk about fun video game topics.
Love it.
So, with that, what we normally start off with is, before we get into our topics, is talking a little bit about what we have been playing lately. So, JT, what have you been playing lately?
Nothing. No, I've been playing. God, you're gonna see a theme here, so get ready.
That's okay.
Final Fantasy.
I think I have one game as like the answer to like three of our topics today.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, get ready. But yeah, Final Fantasy 14 kind of if I'm not playing that, there's probably a new release that I am playing. So 14, but FF7 Rebirth, I'm enjoying the ever living crap out of that. And then I guess when I get time, Helldivers 2.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, the other Mark the Cyborg, my other co-host, plays a lot of Final Fantasy 14 as well. So he's talked about that many times. Is that something you've been playing for a while? Because I know it's been on PC for a long time, but it just recently came to the Xbox. I'm assuming you playing it on PC.
Yeah, I've been playing since 1.0, so 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I played when it was terrible, and
I was
also
just going
played
to
it when it was
ask you
good.
that. If
Yeah.
you'd played it before they rebooted it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Horror.
Yeah. So I'm not much of I've never played any of the Final Fantasy games because they never really appealed to me. So pretty much everything I've learned from Final Fantasy is from having guests on my channel. But I have also been playing Helldivers 2 as well. When I'm available and people are like, hey, I'm getting on Helldivers, anyone want to join? If I'm free, I'll hop in. So I love co-op games. I don't like playing like versus PvP stuff, but I love co-op. So that's been fun. But yeah, that's one of those games where I don't have any intention of ever playing it solo. I'm only going to hop on when other people playing it to play it in co-op. But I have been having a lot of fun with it.
It's really good.
Yeah, so I've heard it was a few days ago, so maybe there was it's already happened. I haven't heard about it because I haven't played it in a few days, but I know that they were talking about adding a new enemy faction to the game, which was actually from their first game, which didn't really blow up anywhere near the first one, or the Helldivers 2 has. Do you know, has that happened yet, or do you know if there's a date for that?
I don't think it happened, but they seem to be notorious with kind of adding features but not really talking about them. They just kind of add them, and then the community's just like, oh, Joel's at it again, holy crap, all kinds of new stuff. So that seems to be the MO for Helldivers. I'm here for it too. Like it's got this weird lore about the universe, and I'm into it. It's just so absurd but still like really fun to play. It's really good.
Yeah, it's great. So what level are you so far? I'm only like level 10 or 11. I'm not very
I'm right around there too. I'm like you. I only jump in if I have buddies playing. So yeah.
Okay. And I put out a tweet that got a decent amount of traction about a week ago, asking all Helldivers reporting with the names of their ships. Do you remember what you named your ship?
The Prophet of Audacity, I think.
Prophet of Audacity. All right. I named
But
mine
it was funny. Carl, the guy you had on your Carl of Dojima, Adam.
This guy right here. What's up, Carl? Good to see you, buddy.
That guy. We both had the same ship names. Like we both randomly had the Fist of Family Values, and I'm like, oh man, okay, you can have it, brother.
Okay,
that's a unique name right there.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Yeah, mine is the Sword of Victory. I thought that was a pretty awesome
nice
name. So, and while we're at it, hello, Carl, Adam. Good to see you, buddy. And CLS Studios is also here. What's up, CLS? I think I saw you on Achievement Chasers last night. Welcome. Good to see you, because before last night, it's been a little while since I'd seen you in chat. Ryan doesn't like fun, to my understanding. No, he's very anti-fun. He's the fun police.
He's
Oh,
the
no.
fun police. How did I get this name of the fun police all of a sudden?
Just kidding. Ryan is. I love
You know,
Ryan on.
I don't know if you've ever seen one of my Friday night shows. They're usually interesting.
And another friend of mine, Shaka Zulu. What's up, buddy? How's it going? And yes, for him it is also morning, because he is also here in the state of California. So good morning for the last 20 minutes until it's afternoon. And we have Jerry Crow from across the pond. What's up, Jerry Crow? Haven't seen one of my chats for a while, so good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Oh, I am everywhere till I am not Neo. All right, yeah. Well, cool. All right, and with that, Ryan, have you been playing anything lately?
Well, I actually dove into a little bit of Fallout 76, but it was only because I hadn't turned it on in a while. So I was very excited on Friday to start Dragon Age Origins. I didn't make it very far in my first playthrough, and it's been so long that I was like, I'll just start at the beginning and just add it to the already like maybe 4 hours I played, right?
Okay.
So I go to start it on my computer, and it starts going, and then it goes whoosh, and I'm like, what the hell?
The game
It
did
just crashed. The game crashed.
Okay.
I was like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. Let me adjust the settings. I'm like going, it loads the main screen. I can go in there and do all that kind of stuff. So I tried it again, and it crashed again. And I was like, okay, well, I was really wanting to play this game. And so I was like, all right, there's got to be something up. I'm missing something, right? So I searched the internet to try to figure out how to get the settings to work. What mod? Because sometimes you have to add mods for Steam to work on Windows 11, or like an RTX, NVIDIA RTX. I can't figure out how to get it to work. I was so bummed out that I was like, I just quit after a couple hours. I'm like, I need to do something else. I'm getting irritated.
Oh,
I was so bummed out. So we're holding off on Dragon Age. I thought about maybe doing a little Fallout New Vegas, because the Fallout show's coming out soon. But I have the same issue with Fallout 3. I would prefer to start with Fallout 3, but it doesn't work either. New Vegas seems to be the only one that'll actually start the game cinematically.
Huh.
So I don't know, man. Like, Steam is great, but sometimes it's not.
Interesting. Yeah, that sounds that kind of sucks. So
Yeah,
Shock
probably
Zulu's,
shock.
Shock Zulu's with you. Dragon Age Origins. He says with some suggestions, go into task manager, turn all your core engines off. So I've never done that before, so I don't I've never heard of that, but maybe that'll fix it. Who knows?
I'm gonna try it right now.
I have not done as most of you guys know, I only got a gaming capable PC not that long ago. So my Steam library is still rather small, but it is growing. So I don't have a lot of experience with getting Steam jank for older games to work. Your advanced computer is working an old game too hard. Oh,
that's what I figured.
And he says GOG runs better because it doesn't make you stay online. Ah, okay. Well, I am CLS I'm trying to set up a new PC I bought used. It has parental controls for some reason, so gotta go try to reset it. All right, good luck with that.
Godspeed.
Talk to you later, CLS. Okay, so you've been trying a few things, but have been sounds like pretty unsuccessful.
Yeah, no, I quit messing with Fallout 3 because it was irritating me. So I was like, all right, well, I know that I can get to the main title screen of Dragon Age Origins. I'm like, so that's half the battle. Like, going Fallout 3 won't even load that. You can't even get to the main title screen. It just, as soon as you go to like click it, it just crashes. And so it's just, you buy these games and you're like all excited about them, and you've had them for a while, and it's like, well, if I can't get it to work, I'm not getting a refund. They're going to be like, oh, well, you've had it too long. It's like, well, I haven't played it. Like,
so I want a refund. This game is 12 years old.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, and also at the same time, most of the time, like I do like you do, and I buy it on sale. So it's like,
yeah, so it's already been out a while after that.
They're like, dude, we're not giving you your $4 back.
Yeah. So fortunately, I haven't come across that yet, but who knows? I might. The biggest issue I've had with Steam is I was prepping. I was for a roulette stream that I'm going to do. I might end up finally doing that today. But some of my like older games, because I've got most of my old games in my CD tower here from when I was a kid. But some of them, it's like I don't want to deal with the disc, so I bought them on Steam sale for like a couple dollars. Um, but when they pop up, they're like this big on the screen because they were, like original like DOS games. So that, but they did still run. So that's about the most I've run into with problems on Steam. But I'm sure I'll probably run into something eventually. So, okay. Well, for me, I've talked about it I've been on a number of different streams and stuff this week. So I've talked about it at length over various streams. But the thing that I've been playing the most lately is Immortals Phoenix Rising. I completed the base game sometime last week. Put that on hold before starting the DLC to work on another game. But so I could finish that up before the end of the month because I needed to complete it for a contest sort of thing. And then I came back and I started working on the Immortals DLC. So there are 3, and the first one picks up right where the base game left off. I completed that one, and I have since started the second DLC, which basically takes so if anyone's not familiar with Immortals Phoenix Rising, it's all themed in Greek mythology, and you're having to. It's a Ubisoft game, so it plays a lot like some of the Assassin's Creed games, but I think they put like a very fresh coat of paint on it. Doesn't, other than like climbing towers like in Assassin's Creed, there's like 4 or 5 different regions in the game. You have to climb to the top of each one to unfog the map. So it's not like doing it like 40 times like you do in the Assassin's Creed games. But then you find the things on the map where you need to go solve puzzles and stuff, and find your missions to go like break the curses on the Greek gods like Aphrodite and Ares and stuff. And so at the end of the game in the first DLC, now that you've kind of proved yourself to the gods that you might be worthy to join them in the pantheon of gods, the first DLC is basically going through all these trials to prove that you deserve a place on Mount Olympus as well. So, and that was basically that one had very little combat. It was almost all puzzle solving and platforming challenges. Which was pretty fun because there are vaults throughout the base game that are very much like the shrines in like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But they're not very long. The DLC ones is basically all of those, but like kicked it up a notch. And that was fun, except for there was one challenge towards the very end. I ran into like a couple of different glitches and had to restart those ones like 3 or 4 times. But other than that, it was good. And the second DLC, which I just started, basically is a reskinned, smaller version of the base game. But instead of it all being Greek mythology, it's all based in Chinese mythology. So I've got a couple hours into that. I'll probably be, and I'm planning on finishing that DLC and the third DLC, which I know almost nothing about yet, in the next week or so. And then I'll get the 100% completion in that game before I move on to whatever I'm playing next. But I have greatly been enjoying it, and it's kind of sad that it didn't sell better because there is not going to be any sequel to Immortals. But I have liked it a lot, and it was, it's already a few years old. I think it came out in like 2020, but it was Ubisoft definitely stepping outside of their kind of normal wheelhouse, which, big companies like that typically just stick to what they know sells. So seeing them take a little bit of a chance was nice. And similarly along those lines, when they recently released the Prince of Persia Lost Crown game, which I've heard nothing but excellent things about because it is a Metroidvania, and that is my genre of expertise. So I cannot wait to play that game at some point. And I don't know how well that sold. I think it did decent, but that's them going outside of their typical area of expertise. So I do have to give Ubisoft a little bit of props for trying something new, even if it didn't pan out. So, but all right. And with that, we have Rogue Attraction. What's up, Tom? Good to see you, buddy. I don't think I've seen you in my chat before, but hello, and welcome.
Hey, Tom, how's it going, man? Shout out to Tom, who's almost to 3,000 subs on his channel.
Nice.
Yeah, he's killing it.
I think he just joined our, because we have the Salty Nerd podcast. Shout out to them. They're good guys. We started a group chat on Twitter for Helldivers. So I think I sent Tom a Helldivers friend request the other day when he put his Helldivers friend code in there. So maybe we'll play some Helldivers at some point. And speaking of that, not Helldivers, but you mentioned that Tom is about to hit 3,000. My good buddy JT Gunn, who is responsible for my logo and many others, and he's an awesome dude and a good friend. He hit 1,000 subs yesterday, so he let me know during my stream last night that he just hit 1,000 subs. So
Ooh,
want to
ooh,
give him
JT.
another shout out with
Not this
with a few
JT,
more.
the other JT.
Yeah, my
So
other,
many of us.
yeah,
I
not this
unsubbed
JT.
immediately. So he's I didn't. But no, I've known JT a long time. He's a good guy. It's crazy dude.
Yeah,
Good on him though.
yeah. No shade to this JT. I just haven't gotten to know him yet, but I've known JT Gunn for a few years now, and with a few more people in chat, just wanted to give him another shout out and just say congrats again for hitting 1,000 subs. That's awesome. So, oh, and Dude is here. What's up? We were on our monthly Achievement Chaser stream last night because he is an achievement hunter as well, and we talk about what achievements we've been hunting. So he says, "Don't let Dermy near Yellow Flash. He's too much of a simp."
Yeah, Dermy simps a lot. He simps a lot.
I hopped into Ballbusters last night for about 10 minutes, and I was like, "What the heck did I just walk into?" I should expect that though by now.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, you knew what you were doing. Hey, R2.
Oh, and there's R2, my other good
say that.
friend, and you haven't known me a long time too, Ryan.
I didn't say that I haven't. You weren't here.
What's up, R2? Good to see you too, buddy. He's a good buddy too. I've known him for probably about just as long as I've known JT, since they are they're practically attached at the hip.
The joke is that R2 actually forced his way into my life because I got to know JT first, just briefly, and R2 is like, "Oh, what? You want to have me on your show?" I'm like, "I'll bring you on when you want. Come on."
Yeah, I think JT recently was like, "Hey, dude, you should get R2 on for open mic." So I got to make that happen. R2, we haven't had it. I've been on with R2 a couple times. But R2 hasn't been on here yet, so we got to make that happen.
I mean, I'd invite you on Friday night's Royal Rumble, but I'd be afraid we wouldn't be friends after that anymore. The way it usually works.
Me or R2?
No, you.
I was on Ballbusters a couple weeks ago, so
yeah,
I can handle it.
Are you ever gonna go back? I've been on Ballbusters. You're probably not going back.
No, I'd go on if they invited me back. It was fun.
No, they're crazy guys. They get wild, man. They get super wild.
Yeah,
it's a real party when Dermy takes his shirt off. You know it's gone too far.
I haven't seen that, but I do see my good buddy James, Melee James, take his shirt off a lot for Bear Force 1. So shout out to Bear Force 1. And Tom says that he forced his way in also.
Yeah, a little bit. That's all right. It's been a good run. It's been a lot of fun.
Broba knows how it is. That was my previous online moniker before Nerdy Neo. So Broba Fett, that was me before my YouTube channel.
Do you still have that one?
Yeah, so my Broba Fett Twitter I use for everything not related to my channel, because I keep my Nerdy Neo Twitter to everything video games, and that's it. Everything else I do on my Broba Fett, because I don't want to get political or anything on my channel or on my Nerdy Neo Twitter. So I still use my Broba Fett for everything else. But JT looks a lot different than my JT. Oh, Neo's JT looks a lot different than my JT. Yes, one has a beard and one does not. So, all right. Well, with that, 19. Mark the time, so I don't have to figure that out later. We're going to go ahead and get into our topics for today. So, excuse me. For the first topic for today, this was inspired by all the hoopla or shenanigans, as you will, that has come with Helldivers 2 blowing up so much. In that, as I was saying earlier, I love co-op games. So I wanted to talk about, first thing today is talk about our favorite co-op games. So I have been having a lot of fun with Helldivers. I have only put about maybe like 10, 15 hours in so far. So not a whole lot of time, but it may end up becoming one of my favorites. Who knows? But my favorite co-op game of all time is also my single favorite game of all time. Although it's not typically known for a co-op game, but it does have a multiplayer co-op component. And I bet Ryan knows where I'm going with this, is Mass Effect 3. I was just playing it again last night because I play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer quite often, a couple times a month. My good buddy in real life, he texted me last night. He's like, hey, want to play Mass Effect 3? I'm like, absolutely. So I have played probably close to 1,000 hours of the multiplayer of Mass Effect 3. It's, as I was saying, it's not typically known as a co-op game, but the multiplayer is co-ops, and I have played a heck of a lot of it, and I freaking love it. There are a couple other co-op games that I love as well, so I'll bring those up, but that is my favorite co-op mode / game of all time, and my single favorite game of all time. So wondering from you guys, what are some of your favorite co-op games?
I can definitely go. So one of them is a little more unknown. It's called Conflict Desert Storm.
Mm.
I
Know
loved
that one.
that game. My friends and I played the holy crap out of that game. It was so much fun too. I always like to be the machine gunner because you just and so that's definitely one of them. But I'd have to say probably one that's more prominent is going to be Halo 2.
Okay.
So
Before we get on to Halo 2, the Conflict Desert Storm, what platform was that on
I
originally?
believe it was the PlayStation 2.
Okay. I was
I
like,
believe it
I
was on
haven't
2.
I think I had heard of that game, and I was like, if it's the game I'm thinking of, I was like, that had to have been like a couple generations ago.
Oh yeah, no, it's super old. I'd have to Google it. I have it right in front of me here on my Steam thing, but yeah, it's only 924 megabytes. So yeah, that's got to be PS2. So
Okay.
it was a lot of fun. So basically, you play a squad. There's four of you. You know, you have a rifleman, you have a machine gunner, sniper, and then of course you have a grenadier. My buddy always preferred to be the sniper. He was a better shot than I was at doing that on video games. So, and you basically you play out scenarios from Desert Storm. So no, it's just it's a good old school play if you like it. I'm not a fan of Call of Duty. I never have been. Well, no, I take that back. I was a fan of Call of Duty when they were sticking to the actual world wars, like because that's how kind of like So it's but yeah, no, I'm not. When it comes to those like Call of Duty is probably the multiplayer game I hate the most. I wish its franchise would just go away, except for Nazi zombies. And which that was a killer mode. Of course, later on they changed the name because you can't say the N word.
Yeah. Um, so that was it like a simulation type game, like super realistic, or was it more arcadey where you
uh,
could like go
I,
into cover and recover your health, or was it like
yeah,
one
yeah, it's
shot and you're
more
dead?
arcadey. It was there weren't a lot of super massive simulation games kind of like that back in the day. It was more meant just for like kind of like shoot 'em, blow 'em up.
Okay.
You
And
know, there were tactics involved, but it wasn't super deep.
okay, because I know that there was I want to say it was probably around that time. There was also a military shooter that was like super realistic. I don't know, was it SOCOM or I want to say there was something called like Dragon Rising or something. But I remember there was some like military shooter back then that was. I don't know how popular it was, but I want to say it was like
Mhm.
super realistic, like one shot and you're dead. So it's like super strategic.
The irony is that I didn't actually get into the SOCOM games. I was actually in the military then. And once I actually ended up joining, I kind of started seeing some of the hokiness that's in video games compared to and it's just like I guess I don't know. I sound like a grumpy old man. I guess it just kind of ruined it. But yeah, Conflict Desert Storm rolled over because I started playing it before I joined. So I was still like, oh yeah, military, and I'm still like super pro military, but it just once you peek behind the curtain, it's kind of like I wrestled at NXT, so I don't really play wrestling games as much anymore. It's
And
I've seen behind the curtain, so it's like
it
it kind of
changes your
loses
perspective on some of
it
these
loses a little
things.
bit of the charm. Yeah.
Okay. And then, because PS2 only had 2 controller ports, so was that actually 4-player co-op if you had like the
Yes,
multi-tap
it
or whatever
was.
it was called?
Yeah, it was. It
Okay.
was the only game that because it was a 4-man squad, and everybody obviously you could only so there could only be one sniper, there could only be one machine gunner, like going. So if you picked that, then like you had to pick the other guy to pick something else. Usually nobody really wanted it, but every once in a while, yeah, we'd get kind of a group of friends together and play 4 players. But it was usually just the 2 of us, and then the computers would play the other characters.
Oh, so there's always 4 people, regardless of whether there's 4 players.
Mm.
Gotcha. Okay.
R2, the best MRE is Chili
Yes.
Mac.
I was just gonna ask you, Ryan. Ryan, what's the best
Ain't
MRE,
none of that
chili mac or beef
beef
stew?
stew crap.
So, um,
It's Chili Mac, bro. If you can get the Chili Mac, that's good stuff. It holds up still today.
but yeah, Shaka Zulu and Dude are also showing up. Bear Force One. Let's see here. And R2, yeah, I hated it ending of Mass Effect 3. Understandable. That's why I always say it fumbled it at the 1-yard line, but the game itself is fantastic. But it sounds like he is a big fan of the trilogy as well. I love playing the Mass Effect trilogy every few years. Good man. And another good buddy, Tim's Talk. What's up, Tim's Talk? Good to see you, buddy. Happy Saturday. And Shaka Zulu says he liked Battlefield better. So I know that's a big popular franchise as well. Never really played that one either.
My favorite, still to this day, I think that did it the best was Medal of Honor.
Okay. That was like the big thing. I think it was because of Medal of Honor is why we got Call of Duty.
Yep.
And then Call of Duty eclipsed it and Medal of Honor has kind of faded away.
Yeah, Medal of Honor is still better. When they started doing like the modern warfare crap, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm so done with this. Like, it got. Look, some people liked it. That's fine. I'm the one with the hot take. I get it.
Yeah, because Modern Warfare 1 and 2, I think, are still highly regarded as some of the best Call of Duty ever. And then for most people, it was when they got into the futuristic stuff that they're like, nope, I'm out. Which that's the stuff that I have the most interest in because I love sci-fi stuff. So I never played those ones. The last Call of Duty I played was Modern Warfare 2, the original one. And I have played the rebooted Modern Warfare from like 2018. But I haven't played anything in between. So cool. All right. And JT, what about you? Do you have any favorite co-op game? Oh, well, actually, sorry. Because Ryan did mention Halo 2. Yes, the Halo games are excellent co-op games as well. I don't know if it was the first time I played through them, but I know I've played through all of them. Oh, hopefully that was an internet thing.
I'm sure it was.
So I'll go ahead and continue on and hopefully give him a chance to get back here. But yeah, I think I've played through every co-op, every campaign in Halo, if not the first time, very soon after they came out in co-op, and that was a lot of fun. Although, because the first two, hey, there he is, he's back.
Weird.
That was very weird.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right. Glad you're back.
Well, R2 was just saying that you just don't stop talking. So he figured that Neo had to kick you.
No, because I was about to go to him, and then I remembered Halo 2, and then I was like, I thought he was like, screw this.
Yeah, that was me. Rage quit.
But Halo 1 and 2 were only 2-player co-op, so it was cool in Halo 3 and onward when they added 4-player co-op, which I have not done all of them in 4-player co-op, but I have done 3 in 4-player co-op. I think I've done Reach and ODST in 4-player co-op, but I don't think I ever did 4 or 5 in 4-player co-op. But yeah, great franchise for co-op, and it's stupid that in Halo 5 they actually got rid of split screen, so you can't do couch co-op. You can only do Xbox Live or online co-op if you're playing on PC. Super dumb.
Yeah, no, I started playing Halo 2 after I got out of the military. I had a buddy. He's a couple years younger than me. I was like 21, he's 19 or whatever, and he was big into it. He's like, yeah, you want to play Halo 2? And I was like, all right, I don't know what Halo 2 is. Let's play it. And because I didn't, I had the original Xbox, but it was for Knights of the Old Republic, and I finished Knights of the Old Republic right before I went in. I shipped off to the army, and that was the only game I ever played. So it was a lot of fun. Him and I used to get drunk and play co-op. It was pretty funny.
But shout out to Halo because good buddy, as he was in the chat a minute ago, Dude1286, and my other good buddy Paul Hadouken recently started playing through Halo co-op. I think they finished Halo 1 last week or the week before, and I think they are continuing their Halo 2 playthrough probably tomorrow. Once they get to Halo 3, I'm planning on joining, as well as I think Insidious Bliss might be joining us. I don't know who the fourth person is, but we're going to try and play through 4-player co-op on the rest of them. So, but yeah, all right. JT, what about you? What are some of your favorite co-op games?
Yeah, assuming my connection holds up this time, that's awesome. So recency bias is going to make me say Helldivers because I am just having an absolute freaking blast with that game. But if I can wade through all the recency stuff,
yeah, I think Helldivers definitely has the potential to become one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, me too. No doubt. But I think absolute favorite. So, you'll probably see a theme with me, but in terms of like funnest moments, I'd say I probably had some of the best co-op moments in Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch.
Okay.
I'm not going to say 1 or 2 because it's basically the same dang thing.
I never played Overwatch, but I played a little bit of Team Fortress 2, but only in the orange box because there were achievements tied to it. I know it's like basically a completely different game on PC.
Yeah, those cooperative shooters I enjoy. Like I might have found a niche that I kind of really like, Helldivers, Overwatch, but favorite of all time has to like, I'm thinking back and I'm thinking, World of Warcraft. Back the 40-man raids were something, back in vanilla WoW were just something else. You got 40 people having to do, rudimentary mechanics. I mean, I play for FF14. There's some pretty, intricate stuff going on there with some of the mechanics, but the old stuff in WoW, like that was fun. Like it was just 40 people, half of them are probably wasted. People complaining about who's getting what loot. Like it was just something else. It was just a different time,
Okay.
Also, just the classic clip of Leroy Jenkins.
Leroy Jenkins.
It's still one of the most hilarious things to watch because when he just runs in, they're just like, did he just run in? And another guy's like, oh, God damn it.
All right, let's go.
And then just start running in.
It was even funnier if you played the game. Like if you knew where he was going, like it was very relevant. Like, oh God, you don't do that. Like what is this knucklehead doing? And they just roll with it. Hilarious.
He was stoned off his ass. That's what made me think of the fact that you're like, oh, half of them were bombed, and it's like, yeah, they were.
At least I got my chicken. That was funny. All I cares about is this chicken. Okay. Yeah, I never really got into WoW. The only MMORPG I ever played for more than a few hours was The Old Republic. I played a good chunk of that, not like super heavily, because I was with for me, it's another one of those games that it's fun in like a group, but it's boring solo. And so I was in a guild, and we played it a lot, like when it launched. But as people fell off, there was no one to play with, and then I ended up having to play a lot of it alone, and wasn't having fun with it, so I fell off. I do still have my account, and one of my buddies, who I used to play with back then, he's like, "Hey, we should play it again." I'm like, "Yeah, let me know. Well, we can get back into it."
Give me a shout because I never got a chance to really dive into it. It was massive before it dropped right before I moved to Florida to pursue WWE. And so once I moved to Florida, like I was playing with a group of guys, but we only got to play for like maybe a month and a half. And I was focused on wrestling, so I stopped playing. And I still to this day, I don't have my original account, but I've always wanted to start over. So I'll play.
Cool.
My first MMO was Star Wars
Galaxies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's way back.
Yeah, well, if we ever do get back into it, I'll definitely give you a shout.
Dude.
And it was so I never got into WoW, but I could definitely see, how people were so like hooked on it and like going into these massive raids, and everyone has their role to play. And if one person screws up, the entire team is screwed. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So that does sound like a lot of fun, but frustrating when it's like you get this close to killing this boss you've been fighting for like an hour because his HP pool is so gigantic, and then something goes wrong and everybody wipes.
Well,
I
it
can
was
see
it
that
was
being very
relatively bite
frustrating.
sized though. I mean, it was you could you did have 40 people, but like if I would compare that to FF14 rating, some of the end game stuff in 14, like it's just so precise. Like you're with 8 people in 14, so you have to
Okay.
be like very tuned in, and like you stand in the wrong spot and everyone's done. And if you don't do the certain thing at the certain time, everyone's done. Like you could still screw up and wow. Like it was a little more casual friendly. Like I
A
wouldn't
little
say
more
I was
forgiving.
absolute. Yeah. But it's a different dynamic. So I liked it better because, you know, I don't have time for a whole ton of gaming these days. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, dude is still here. He played Old Republic for a little bit, and probably still have an account. I found a way to use a PS2 controller on it and had a pretty decent Sith Mauler. Interesting. Oh, I've got a I got a an Old Republic shirt because I played Sith. It's been so long since I played it. I forgot like the classes and the subclasses, but I basically based my character on Darth Maul, Sith
Yeah, that's
Assassin. That's what it
yeah, yep,
was.
yeah. So
And so
I ended up
um,
playing a Sith, yeah, with my first team. So I never actually got a chance to play through the light side. So when I started my second account, I was like, I'll play a good guy and see how it goes.
Yeah. So when it was, I doubt you can get these anymore, but they had a shirt for each of the classes, and you know how
Oh, there
there he
goes
goes
his
again.
internet again.
Each
Damn
class
internet.
has a subclass. So I know I've worn it before, but I should have worn it today. But I'm wearing my
You
Zelda
could probably
Star
find it
Wars
on
shirt.
eBay. Probably
Um,
find it on eBay, and
but
even a lot of times too, people will just recreate it and resell it.
Okay. But yeah, I got the one for the Sith assassin, and it's got like the no, so up at the top it has the Sith symbol, and then down below it has the main class, and then it's got like a branch, and it's got the symbols for each of the subclasses, and all the text on it is in Arabic, which I know how to read. So I was like, oh yes, an Arabic shirt. So and he's back.
Oh, I just put in the private chat, like, if it does it again, maybe just take 5 minutes, reset your router.
Yeah.
You might be doing something weird.
You're coming through perfectly clear. I haven't seen a frame loss or audio stutter at all, so it's weird that it's just dropping you.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
fighting.
but
Unless they're screwing with the lines in your area, you know, like
oh
sometimes or updating. Sometimes they'll pick like mid afternoon on a Saturday to update stuff, and it's like, oh well, people, it's a Saturday, they're going to be out getting lunch, and it's like, well, it's not everybody.
Yeah.
not us nerds who are inside all the time on our
You know,
computers.
midnight on a Friday when everybody's hammered.
Yeah.
Like,
No, that'd
We
be the
got
worst
video
time.
games to talk about. Leave us alone.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I got that Old Republic shirt, and I love that shirt. So R2 says he never loved EverQuest or WoW, but he loved Warcraft 2 and 3. So cool.
I didn't get into either one of those. Because at the time I had a pretty serious girlfriend, so I was doing other things. So, had I probably not, I probably would have played World of Warcraft. Because I worked at a Best Buy then, you know, back when you worked at Best Buy and it was kind of a fun job to have. You
Oh
like
yeah.
in Yeah, you
I,
get like an employee discount on stuff, and it's like, yeah, I saw EverQuest and like all the DLCs, the different covers, you know, and it's like I was really intrigued by EverQuest, but I never played it.
Yeah, I wanted to work at like GameStop or Best Buy back then, but I never did. And from some of the horror stories I've heard, I'm like kind of glad I didn't.
I
Actually,
did both of them.
my store is pretty good. GameStop, on the other hand, I've heard horror stories, but Best Buy was pretty good.
Cool. So, but a couple other shout outs. My other one, and is probably my single most hours in a game, is Destiny. I played a heck of a lot of that. I played most of it. I'd probably say I played. So I have about 1,600 hours in Destiny. The first one, I never actually played the second one, and I probably played about 80% of that in co-op with the buddy I mentioned that I play Mass Effect with. Those have been like, we don't play Destiny anymore. But when Destiny was still like the thing, we were playing all the time and so I played a good chunk of it solo as well, but most of it has been in co-op, and that was a lot of fun. So that was a great co-op game. And then another one that we played together with one of our other buddies, and I played it because they two had already basically played through it, and then I joined them, and they basically played through it again, was Ghost Recon Wildlands. We had a lot of fun playing that in co-op. It's a big, giant open world, and you can summon helicopters, and have all sorts of cool guns and stuff. And we had a lot of fun playing that game, and that was great in co-op. And I did play a little bit of that solo, But still, the solo was still pretty fun, but most of it was in co-op, and that's why I had a lot of fun with that. I definitely wouldn't have had anywhere near as much fun playing Wildlands in solo if I had to play most of it in solo. And then specifically for the co-op, I know a popular one is the Gears games. I would like the co-op and the story, but I hate Gears' multiplayer. So that's why it's not up there in my top echelon of games. But I have had fun playing through the Gears games in co-op. So,
Gotta be honest, never played any of the Gears games.
okay.
Again, I wasn't a 360 guy. I had a PS3 at the time. It was my best friend from the military. Him and I, after I got out and then he got out, we actually were roommates for a while. During while I was working at Best Buy, and him and I actually lived together for good 3.5 years. Yeah, he's a good friend. But no, he was so he's actually how I discovered Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fable. Like I never played any of those. And then I was like, oh, I like that. Looks like an awesome. I'd watch him play it, and they were so interesting that I'm like, this is almost kind of like watching somebody like an interactive movie, and that's when I got into it. But yeah, I never got into Gears.
Okay. And then my buddy dude says Warframe. He's put more like a lot more time into Warframe than I ever even put into Destiny, so that's like his thing.
I tried to like Warframe. I really tried to get into Warframe there for a while. Couldn't do it.
I never tried it, but I'm sure I would have loved it if I had. I hope Warframe tries to bring back raid-like content again. It's one of the new features they've removed from the game due to them always breaking with every update. That was the thing that pissed a lot of people off with Destiny is they're constantly tweaking the games for balance and multiplayer, but it's also affecting the guns in the single player. It's like, have the tweaking only affect multiplayer, leave the single player guns alone. And it kept ruining the guns in single player because of multiplayer balancing. It's like, they don't need to be the same, but they wanted to keep it the same across the board. So that was really frustrating. But all right. So with that, we'll get on into our next topic. So, so that last question was one that I think I came up with more recently. But this one I've had on the back burner on my list of questions for a long time, just haven't thrown it into the rotation for party chat questions before. But the next question on our list today is, what is a game that you will always keep installed on your hard drive? You know, you're having to make room for some of these giant games like the most recent Call of Duty. One thing is really dumb, at least on console. I don't know if it's the same on PC, but with the Modern Warfare 2 and 3 reboot, they combine them into one game. So you can actually install bits and pieces of them. And I have the Modern Warfare 2 reboot, but not the 3 reboot. But even so, it's still like 160 gigs. If I was to install all of the content, I think it's like 260 gigs. It's ridiculous. They really need to work on this gigantic oversized file crap. But anyways, say you got one of these giant games on your hard drive, and you got to delete it to make room for something. What's that game or games that you're like, no, this is staying installed no matter what? So curious on you guys what you're never going to uninstall games are.
Man, mine won't be a shocker at all. If you know me, you know what's staying on mine. FF14, hands down.
A little bit that we've talked so far, my guess was going to be Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, FF14. More recently, though, I can't bring myself to uninstall Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
I play the absolute hell out of that game.
Did you play it at launch or did you wait?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask.
Yeah, so I did play it a little bit at launch, so I might have put 20 hours into it or so at launch, and I was just kind of like, this is bad. You know, I don't like this. They did the update, and now I'm like, ooh, now it's really good. So it stays. Like, if I'm bored sometimes, I'll just fire that up and just go, wreak a little havoc. It's fun. It's really well done now, and if you're into that kind of thing, I recommend you check it out. I mean, you can usually get it pretty cheap. I mean, they did that whole DLC expansion, and it's really well done as well. Like it's a really good deal. There's a lot of game there.
Okay. Yeah, when that because there was two things that came out there was the expansion that came out, but at the same time there was also that 1.0 or 2.0 update that was free to everyone. And Mark talked about that a bunch on Party Chat at the time that was coming out, and is saying that this update really makes it a good game, even
without a doubt.
even without the new Phantom Liberty DLC. So that's something that I'll probably pick up eventually once I can get the Game of the Year edition or whatever with the Phantom Liberty at a good discount. I'll probably pick that up and play it at some point. So
yeah, I mean the narrative, that was always good. The base game narrative, I enjoyed that a lot, but the gameplay just really made getting through the narrative kind of I didn't want to suffer through it, but it's a good narrative. It holds up. It's really well done.
Okay. Cool. And dude is saying if you try to get into Warframe, definitely get at least one friend to get in with it. Also helps find a veteran to ask questions. The game isn't always intuitive. So if anyone gets into Warframe, go contact Dude. I'm sure he'll be happy to help you out because he knows Warframe.
That's how I feel with Destiny. I tried to fire that up a while ago. You were talking about Destiny, and I did play that pretty extensively as well. But that's how I feel about Destiny. I fired it up, and I'm a vet. I played the heck out of it. Didn't know what the heck was going on. There's this system, that system. It's crazy.
There are a lot of subsystems and different currencies in the game that you need to upgrade different things. So it definitely could be a bit convoluted. So I'm still pretty well versed in it. I still have one achievement left in the game that I need to get a group together because I still need to beat the very last DLC raid, which was the Wrath of the Machine raid from the Rise of Iron DLC. I need to do that on the heroic difficulty, and then I'll finally have all the achievements in that game. So I will hop into that game every once in a while, like every 6 months or so, and putz around for a little bit. So I still think I'm pretty well versed in the game. So if anyone has any questions about Destiny or wants to hop in, I'd be happy to do that. And shout out to Hijabi Gamer. She still plays that game religiously. So
yeah, she tried to get me to play. She's like, it's free to play. You can play it for free. I was like,
well, Destiny 2 is free to play.
Okay, we did that. We did that one. Okay,
she plays both though, and
she plays both very religiously. Shout out to Kat.
And she plays both versions on like every platform. It's like she loves it. So if anyone wants to get into Destiny, I'm sure she'll be happy to help you out too.
Yeah, all you have to do is say, I would like to play Destiny. And she'd be like going, I'll play with you. And it's like, it just gives her an excuse to play it.
Well, I had her on Party Chat on like the 3rd episode. And we talked about Destiny a lot. And I'm like, yeah, let's play it. And we still haven't played. So
that's probably on you, dude.
I've reached out to her a couple times.
If you do it on Twitter, she doesn't check her DMs. She's so bad about that.
She's bad about her Twitter DMs.
Get in her comments, and she'll see it like that.
Okay.
So,
all right, maybe I'll reach out to her that way.
Yeah, it's easier to get in her comments.
R2 says the first 3 Arkham games, always a blast to play as the world's greatest detective. Yes, I say all 4 Arkham games are excellent, including Arkham Origins. But yes, those are great games. And I know because Origin gets a lot of flack. I still say that each of the 4 Arkham games did something better than the other 3. They all have their merits. And a lot of people give a lot of flack to Arkham Knight as well. But I think that was still a great game as well. And dude is giving us plebes a hard time. Wait, you guys don't have extra hard drives? Got 3 hooked up to my Series X, one on my PS5, and one on my 360. So I have on my Series X, I do have an external hard drive, which is just a standard USB 3 for like backwards compatible and non-series enhanced games. And I did get the expansion card to expand my storage for the series enhanced games.
Well, both my computers are 1 terabyte, and then I have a 5 terabyte external hard drive. So I don't know. I'm pretty good.
And I still got a lot of space on my PC as well. I just don't have the games to fill it yet. So,
yeah, actually, no, I actually have 3. Well, my old computer was a 1 terabyte too, and half the time that's the one I use to edit videos anymore, and it's got a space on it. So I'm walking around with like 8 terabytes of space if I just need to shift it around. But
yeah, my internal SSD is about 500 gigs, but I do have I think a 4 terabyte, not external but mechanical drive.
Mm-hmm.
So, and R2 is saying he's got to run, so have a good show. All right, R2, good hanging out with you. I'll talk to you later. Have a good Saturday. So, Ryan, what about you? Do you have any games that I wouldn't expect you to say for games that you would never uninstall?
Well, actually, I was just gonna say to R2 real quick. Just roll over and tell RJT that I said hi. So, wait, no, really, no laughs on that. Neil's like, I'm not gonna acknowledge that. No, okay. So one that you will expect on my PlayStation 4, which I do not have. It is technically still in storage. One game I'll never install is Fallout 76. I beta tested it. I've talked about this on this channel. It's just easy to hop in and play. I still enjoy it to this day. Not as much as the previous version. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, we want our NPCs." That's great. They listened to the majority. I was in the minority. I thought the story was interesting and new. Um, so but that being said, also I do actually have on my computer, and they're all pretty much MMOs. Star Wars: The Old Republic, I won't uninstall. Fortnite, well, Fortnite's not. Um, in case I hop in and play with the dudes or something like that, which I was never a big Fortnite fan until they did the no build thing because I didn't understand it. And now it's just straight up
That seems to
you.
have got hooked a lot of people as the no
Yeah, well,
build.
because I didn't understand. Like, you would see somebody like running like in like a little circle and build this tower, and it's like, the hell is that? What are you doing?
What the hell is even that?
Yeah, like you're like building a tower to the heavens. I'm like going, I don't understand. Like, how do you get that guy? Do you have to run up the tower? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
same. I
like,
saw people doing this, and people were like, "Oh my god, that's nuts!" I'm like, I have no idea what's going on or why
yeah,
this is happening.
exactly. And the irony is that my nephew he still plays sporadically, but he's the one who told me years ago when he was like 12. He's like, you really need to play it on your gaming channel. It'd be so awesome. And it's like, now that I've started playing it, he plays it less because he's 15, he's got a girlfriend. Um,
Oh,
so he's but yeah, so Fortnite's one, Dungeons and Dragons Online. That's right.
oh, okay.
I still, so that might be the game I actually,
I would not have
and
expected that one.
until I figure out the whole Dragon Age thing, I might play a little D&D online because it still works. It works well on this computer. Well, on both previous computers, I've never had an issue with it at all. Um, and Amazon's New World. I still want to play that. I helped beta test Amazon's New World.
Oh, that was their MMO, right?
Yeah, no, it is a fun game. It's a very fun game. I highly recommend it. I have not, there's so much to do that Dragon Age is the one that I wanted to play the most because again, I didn't finish it. I only made it like 4.5 hours in. I was like, let's just start from the beginning. You can kill 4.5 hours pretty, in 2 live streams, right? And it just does. And again, I'll figure it out. But yeah, so those are kind of the ones that I've they won't go away, but they're on 2 different systems, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm with you on
unless
New
you,
World.
yeah,
You
unless you,
played it as well?
Oh yeah.
it's fun.
I wasn't impressed at launch, but they've done a lot, and
Hmm.
it has gotten way better. It's a
Yeah,
lot of fun now.
I was pleasantly entertained even during the beta, but the thing is that it's gotten a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, you had some pretty hardcore gamers who were beta testing it, and they leaned heavily into unlike Bethesda with Fallout 76, they leaned heavily into what the gamers were telling them, and they made changes, and it got a lot better.
Okay. Yeah, I remember hearing about it, and then I didn't. This is the first time I heard about it, basically since it launched. So I thought it was one of those things like came out, and it was a hotness for like a week, and then it died, and never heard from it again. So it sounds like it does still have a pretty decent player base.
I mean, I can pull it up right now and take a look, see what the servers look like.
Okay, so yeah, that it's like okay, so not a huge player base, but it is still a decent, fun game because the player base isn't always indicative of anything. It can be, but not always.
It can be, but I don't really lean heavily into that because, quite frankly, and look, this is not a pot shot at Helldivers or Dragon's Dogma or Party Animals, but there was a large sect or Fall Guys or anything like that. I think they're all fun games, but when you get a massive amount of people playing them, I almost kind of feel like they're playing them for the wrong reason. They're like going because it's the hot thing, right? So everybody wants to play it, and then you see the people who really enjoy it. They end up sticking around, and the other people kind of fall off.
Yeah.
I think that's just gamers, though. Well,
I think some
real
people
gamers
go
stick.
way too hard into games though. Like they'll jump on the hotness train, right? And they'll just
Hmm.
binge. and then they almost burn themselves out on games. Like I'm happy with the way I'm doing Helldivers. Like I'm not burned out on that. But again, I'll only jump in that when someone's like, oh hey, I have a spot. You want to come in? Yes.
Yeah, playing
You know?
very piecemeal so you don't get
Yeah.
burned out on it.
I also think it kind of also swings the other direction too, like going because Dragons
Dogma.
got some hate. Yeah, I mean I think everybody knows what we're talking about. It got some hate over the
Microtransaction.
microtransactions in the store. And even all the articles, as somebody who covers games and movies and all that kind of stuff, it was said you don't have to purchase anything. You don't. It's all right there in the game. You got to earn it. Um, but there are some people who don't want to earn it. They're gonna take the higher, they're gonna cheat. Well, not cheat. They're going to take the easy road and buy it and make their gameplay easier. So I mean, I don't necessarily. I mean, I don't like that. So
the journos definitely got their clickbait headlines with that, though. For
yeah, pretty
sure.
much. Yeah, they got their clickbait headlines, and most people push back on this. And we, obviously the last time 2 weeks ago we did this, Mark was he was playing it at the time, and he's like, it's fine. He's like, I have some issues with the frame rates, but he's like, other than that, he's like, I enjoyed the game.
Yeah, that's what
It's like-
Shaka Zulu is saying. Is the optimization is the problem with the Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah, I mean, that happens. So
yeah, and along the lines of the microtransaction thing, like the way that Helldivers is doing, I think is great. The premium currency, you can buy it or you can find it in games. You don't have to spend any additional money. So.
Yeah, see, and I think that's perfect. and Fallout 76 is mostly similar. Like you can earn these kind of like the little points in game and stuff like that, and you can go to the store and buy like, oh, I like the skin for this, or I like that outfit, or at the same time, you can sometimes most of the time find it in the world if you want to. It just depends. So.
All right. And Metal Shred Freaks here saying, I need one of them terabyte drives. I keep having to delete games. Yeah, expand that storage so you don't have to delete games. So, and Real Wade Nation is here. What's up, Wade? Good to see you.
Hey, Wade.
Happy Saturday.
Hi, Wade. Just making sure you heard me, Wade. No, I'm kidding. I'm giving Wade a hard time. He goofs on me, and he's like going, Ryan didn't read my chat. Like, Wade's a great guy. Shout out to Wade. He's sitting at like over 1,300 subscribers right now, so good on him.
Yeah, he's been doing great. So yeah, I'm with Shaka Zulu and Mark on this. Don't charge $70 for a next gen game that doesn't run 60 FPS, has frame issues, is unacceptable. Exactly. I was arguing with someone on Twitter the other day about I could go off on a whole tangent about this, but there's some news that came out about Hellblade 2, and how that it's going to be capped at 30. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Basically, this generation of games was basically sold on 4K 60 FPS. And these people were like, no, it wasn't. If you thought that, you weren't paying attention. It's like, no, I have been paying attention. That was it says it on the freaking Xbox's box that it came in. And it even says up to 120 FPS. And so I was like, why is there all this like capped at 30 crap? It's like, give us the option to run at 60. And he came back and he's like, actually, it's not even 4K. And I was like, it's not even 4K and it's capped at 30? That's even worse. You got to be kidding me. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what the person I was arguing with on Twitter was saying, that it's not even 4K and it's capped at 30. So
that's kind of wild.
It's like,
I'd take that with a grain of salt.
So I hope that he's wrong about that, because I am looking forward to playing Hellblade 2 at some point, because I did really enjoy the first one. And yeah, it looks very cinematic, but like, I'll take frame rate over resolution any day of the week. I'm not even sure I can tell the difference between 1080 and 4K. So give me 1080, 60 FPS.
I don't think you can in a video game now.
So yeah, with all these people like
I don't think you can.
Defending the giant companies and their 30 FPS crap pisses me off. So that's my
unless they're capping it because they want to be cheap.
We were
and they
sold
don't
a lie.
They don't want to.
Yes,
I guess adapt it for PC between Series X and PS5 and PC. They just are like, just cap it at 30, whatever.
I mean, are they still tying? Are they tying gameplay elements to FPS still? Is that still a thing? Like,
that'd be a question for Mark. He could definitely answer that.
Yeah, that'd be a question for Mark. He'd know more better than I would.
Because I know that there are some games that back in the day that were tied to the frame rate, and if you run them at faster frame rate, it breaks the game.
Like Bloodborne. Like they wanted a port for Bloodborne forever, and you can't do it because frame rate dictates a lot of the things in the game. So
why would you ever do that? It seems like a terrible idea.
I think it's a relic from the old, 8-bit, 16-bit days. But it makes sense in timing based things. I mean, I kind of get it. Like the explanation I read made sense, but it's 2024. There's got to be a better way now.
There should be zero excuse for not having 60 FPS on everything now.
Shock Zulu, exactly. Like, we have AI now. Like, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, AI can make videos of like these that look real, of like women walking down the street, and you would think that it's a real woman. So I don't want to hear it.
I remember a couple months ago seeing that video of that car on fire in the middle of the street, and it was all rendered in Unreal Engine, and then it looked real. It's like, holy crap, that's nuts. But I think what he's referring to here is that a lot of these games aren't optimized well, and so they use programs like AI programs like DLSS to enhance the frames. It's not natively running at that high resolution. It's basically it's almost like when AI enhances images to add resolution, it's kind of guesstimating what's there to make it look better. I think that's what DLS is kind of doing as well, is it's guessing, it's making its best guess to make the frames look better that aren't actually there in the first place.
Yeah, you should check out frame gen as well. Frame gen is the big thing going around now. The graphics card will just, if I can't render the frame properly, I'll just generate a frame with AI. So it's really strange, but I mean, it'll pump out the frames, but it looks a little weird. Like if you're looking for things, you'll see things get messed up. But yeah, frame gen's wild.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's my FPS rant, which I think Shaka Zulu. I'm on the same side as Shaka Zulu and Mark. But getting back on topic,
I am too, dude. Like, look, if you have a computer that can't run, certain games at 60 FPS, I get that, right? But so there should be the option to be able to lower it. But if you have a computer, if you have an NVIDIA RTX, any of the RTXs, like even what a GeForce 1660 can still run the majority of the games today. It decent settings, like low mid settings. What are you talking about here? Like, get out of here.
And another person replied to my tweet saying, "Get a PC, plebe." And I was like, "I have one."
You're like, "I have one, dumbass." Sorry with language, but Twitter.
I prefer to play on Xbox if it's available on Xbox. So
I love when people come in on Twitter too, and they think they're dunking on you. It's like, dude, seriously? like, are you kidding me right now?
Dunk you think it is?
Like, have you seen one of my streams? I constantly talk about the fact that like one computer might go down for whatever reason, and I'm like, I'm still on this one. It's like, yeah, most people have pretty decent setups when it comes to, if you're going to play video games on stream, you have to have a decent setup.
Yeah. So, anyways, getting back on topic, for games that I will always keep installed, most of these I'm sure Ryan will probably be able to predict. But as I mentioned earlier, favorite game of all time, Mass Effect 3, I will always keep that installed because the legendary or legacy, legendary edition, whatever the special edition has, is only the campaigns. They did not port the multiplayer forward. So if you want to play the multiplayer, which I often do, you have to play the original like console or Steam version of the original Mass Effect 3. So I will always keep that installed because I play that a couple times a month. No surprise there. And then watch me mention this and Paul no, actually I know Paul won't because he's on a stream right now as well. But it seems like every time I mention this game, Paul magically appears in the chat and he's like, "Oh, look at that. Neo's talking about Subnautica again." I freaking love Subnautica. That's one that I basically always keep installed. And like, kind of like you were mentioning earlier, it's one of those games, like if I don't feel like playing anything else, I'll hop onto Subnautica and play that for a little bit. I love that game, and I always keep that one installed. And then a couple others are, I need to go back and play it again because it is my favorite Metroidvania of all time, but I haven't played it in like 2 or 3 years now, is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. I will always keep that one installed because that is one of my favorite games of all time. I love that game. And then going back to more classic, and it's a smaller game, so it doesn't take up much space. So even if I needed space, deleting it isn't going to make much room, is the Mega Man X Legacy Collection, because Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3 are my favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. So I love going back and playing through those every once in a while. And then lastly, one that I don't talk about often, so Ryan probably wouldn't predict this one, and kind of like Subnautica, I will hop into this game every once in a while and just dick around, blowing stuff up, having fun. Is my favorite sandbox game is Just Cause 3. I love the Just Cause games, and the third one is my favorite. You get a wingsuit. and you have with one of the DLCs, you get a jetpack that has rockets and a machine gun on it. So you're basically like Iron Man. It is so much fun. I love going in that game, just flying around and blowing stuff up. I love that game. So those are some of the games that I will always keep installed, because if I need to make room, I will delete other stuff before I delete those ones. So, all right, we'll go on to our next topic at 1:05. So, let's see here. So, this is a question that I think spawned in my head during a party chat, and I wrote it down way back and haven't brought it up again. But I thought today would be a great day to bring it up. But I was hoping Mark would be here for this question. But maybe I'll bring it up again sometime when he's on stream. Because the game that we were talking about that inspired this question is games that we loved but didn't age well. And I think it was because we were talking about GoldenEye. So many of us console plebes loved GoldenEye. For me, it was Perfect Dark because Perfect Dark took everything GoldenEye did and did it way better. But it didn't sell anywhere near as much as GoldenEye. I guess it's probably just because of the name recognition. But I played way the heck more Perfect Dark than I did GoldenEye because I loved that game. That was my favorite N64 game, tied with Ocarina of Time. But those games have not aged terribly well, but we look back at them with a lot of fondness from the time. But if you were like Mark, where you were playing PC first-person shooters at the time that way outclassed it, like Quake and Doom and stuff, he's like, I don't get the love for GoldenEye, but that's because he was playing on PC. So I'm wondering, what are some older games that you loved that have aged? Doesn't necessarily have to be from that generation, but older games that you loved that have aged very well. So for me, the game that immediately comes to mind is also one of my favorite games of all time. It was an original Xbox game. It still plays flawlessly. It is super smooth. And it looks like it could have come out on Xbox 360, and that is Ninja Gaiden Black. It looks amazing. I don't think that there was any other game on Xbox that looked as good as it did. It plays so smooth. It holds up. You could go and play that today for the first time and not think that this game came out 20 years ago. It could feel like it came out today. It is a phenomenal game, and actually, that's probably one that I'll probably also never uninstall because I love that game, and I haven't played it in a long time. I need to go back and play it again. But wondering from you guys, what are some games from yesteryear that still hold up?
You know what? That's a great question.
I got one queued up if you want to think on
Yeah,
it.
dude. Yeah, dude, go ahead, man. Seriously, shoot.
So again, if you know me, this is not going to be a surprise, but I play this at least once a year, and it's Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
The art is awesome. You know, it's got that really nice 16-bit sprite stuff going on. It still holds up in my opinion. The music definitely holds up in my opinion. There are some absolute amazing tracks in that game. Plus the story doesn't really get old for me. You know, it was one of those first games that I picked up when I was younger that had different endings. You know, I thought that was unheard of on an SNES game. You know, it was, what if I do this at a certain time that affects the timeline, and then the ending of the game is completely altered? Like, my mind as a teenager was absolutely blown. Like, this is, you know, wow, we're in the future now. This is crazy. But yeah, Chrono Trigger is one of those games that just absolutely holds up.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been into JRPGs. It's not been my thing, so I've never played Chrono Trigger, and I've never had any desire to. But I know that when talking about like some best games of all time, not even just best Super Nintendo games of all time, Chrono Trigger is often mentioned. And I do hear a lot of people talk about how great the music is. But I don't have any experience with it myself, but good pick. Speaking of music, the next episode of Top 5, where me and my guest, my co-host Jason, and our panel of whoever are well versed in the topic, we're doing our episode. I think it's episode 6 of Top 5 in about 2 weeks on the 19th. Or sorry, I'm looking at the wrong month here. Let me move to April 16th. We are ranking our top 5 video game soundtracks. So if anyone wants to come talk about, listen to us rank our top 5 video game soundtracks, that is going to be on the 16th. So quick plug for that, since we were talking about excellent video game music. So
So I think I'll probably one of my favorite that still holds up to this day is going to be Fallout New Vegas. It is one of my, if not, no, it is. It's my favorite Fallout game of all time. Fallout New Vegas. I absolutely love it, especially because it's in an area where it's close to an area. I was born in Arizona. I was raised in Colorado. Like when I'm very familiar with, obviously, you know, because it spans a lot of that area. Been to Las Vegas, been to the Hoover Dam when you used to be able to drive over it. Now you don't, you can't. They have a
You can't
bridge
drive
that
over
you
it anymore?
can't drive over it anymore, dude.
I did not know that.
I didn't know
Can't
that
drive over
either.
it. Yeah, you can't drive over it anymore. They built a bridge just over the top, and the highway just goes whoosh over the top of it.
That makes sense. They did the same thing here in my area, near the Folsom Dam. You used to be able to drive over it, and they built a road now, bridge across it, so you're
It's
not actually
such a
driving over the
bummer, man.
dam.
Like, it was only 2 lanes, and yeah, it probably took you about an hour and 15 minutes to get from, in line, but on a weekend because everybody's driving over and people were stopping on the side, and it's like,
I remember
because
doing that.
it was freaking awesome, man. You can't do it anymore.
Oh, that's
I Apparently they stopped doing that roughly around the time of shortly after the coup. I think it's only been a couple of years. Yeah.
yeah, not surprising, but yeah, because
So
the Fallout New Vegas takes place, yeah, obviously, in not specifically in Vegas, but like
yeah,
the
and I mean
Nevada desert area.
well, there's also elements of obviously Arizona in there. There's it's not a ginormous map. It's a very, very big map, but it's not as big to encompass the states that are actually a part of it. Because obviously, the Hoover Dam is what it was about an hour and a half outside of Las Vegas. Um, Again, there are elements of the Colorado River in there. There are elements of the fact that Caesar's Legion came from Colorado, or something like that. It's
It's
it's been a while since.
it's basically like if you took that actual geographical area and just kind of shrunk it down, right?
Yeah, pretty much, right? So it's like when you're actually walking on foot to find something, it's very unrealistic. But like if you just fast traveled, like you had you know, but still, it to this day, I love that game. Um,
It's kind of
Another
like
game,
Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where you have like Cuba and you have Florida and you have all these islands in that area of the Atlantic. But in real life, it would take you, maybe days or
yeah,
weeks to sail between them. But in the game, it takes like a few minutes. So it's basically like that real area just condensed down to a smaller map. So it's not like forever to get between the different spots. It sounds like it's kind of like that.
yeah. It's one of those things that, like, look, you have to have some realistic expectations, right? Because I have played games where the map is huge, and you got to hot foot it all the way there, and it's like it takes forever. Um,
Yeah, it's
just on
for
foot.
they string it down to keep the game fun and
Yeah.
interesting. But
Just
yeah,
just just an honorable mention, of course. I always love Knights of the Old Republic. It's always very fun. That's just an honorable mention. I'm picking Fallout New Vegas because, again, it is my favorite Fallout game, and I think most people would agree with that. Who are huge fans of the Fallout franchise. There's some people who think that, like, yeah, well, the Bethesda games aren't Fallouts. I'm like, yes, they are. I love the originals too, like Fallout 1, Fallout 2. That's great. I'm hesitant for the show. We'll see. The reason that I went for possibly playing Fallout New Vegas, or if I can get 3 to work or something like that, is because maybe playing it simultaneously while watching the show, which I'm going to review. Um, this is a big one for me. This is probably like Star Wars level of, because the Fallout franchise is one of my absolute favorites. It's like I put it there next to Mass Effect and the two Knights of the Old Republic games.
nice. Yeah, I've played a lot of Fallout 3. I've put a few hours into Fallout 4. I've never played New Vegas, but from everything that I hear, everyone who played New Vegas,
Gotta play
after
it, man. Seriously, you'll love it.
because it did not launch in a great state, but I'm pretty sure they fixed it all pretty quickly thereafter. But everyone who's played it since it's pretty much got all patched and everything says, yeah,
Mhm.
it's the best Fallout game.
Shock. As for 76, dude, I completely get it. Again, as somebody who was there I was very excited from day one. I knew it was different, so I did have some reservations. I beta tested it. I saw all the bugs. I didn't have as many issues on PlayStation 4 as people on other platforms did. Seemed like but then there are people on PS4 who are like, oh no, it crashes my system all the time. And I was like, not crashing mine. I don't know what you're doing. I think probably fail ratio when it first came out, it probably had like a 25%, 30% fail ratio for me. That's not very high in my opinion for a beta tested game. You would expect more. But I do get the criticisms. It's a much better game. If you like the reworkings of Cyberpunk in the way they change things, Bethesda eventually got the fudge and hint. Go play it. I think you'll like it. And you don't have to play with anybody. You can play all by yourself. Trust me, you get out to areas in the map and like nobody's around. Like so, yeah, I recommend play it.
Yeah, that's almost, I don't want to say a reputation that Obsidian has had, but they had a kind of similar thing because they did Fallout New Vegas, where obviously Bethesda did Fallout 3, and it didn't launch in a great state, but it turned into a great game. Very similar thing happened. BioWare did Knights of the Old Republic, but Obsidian did Knights of the Old Republic 2, and it also did not launch in a great state, but it has turned into a great game, and a lot of people say that it's actually even better than the first one. I often say I haven't played KOTOR 2 yet, but I will at some point. But I know a lot of people consider KOTOR 1 like one of the greatest Star Wars games, if not one of the greatest games of all time. And then I know a lot of people that like KOTOR 2 even better than KOTOR 1. And speak of, I'm pretty sure one of them is Melee K. What's up, Melee K?
Well, she's wrong.
And Psychotic Mongoose. What's up, Psychotic Mongoose? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
KOTOR 2 is awesome, but it is not better than the first. The first could have been a standalone by itself easily. And I stand by this to this day. Disney, please don't until you fix your shit.
Yeah.
The first game could easily be 3 movies. The second game could be 3 movies. And
when you're talking about KOTOR 2, are you taking into account the restored content mod?
No, I've never used the restored content mod. We've had that. Yeah, I need to.
I thought you were saying that you hadn't, because that makes, from what I've heard, that makes a huge difference.
I have heard it makes a huge difference too. I just I'll admit, story wise, the first game has probably one of the most incredible twists of fate since the original Star Wars trilogy. And it's one reason it won, and I know this still to this day. It's won 144 gaming awards.
Wow.
When gaming awards were actually a thing, and games journalists actually liked video games. So yeah,
I would give to go into KOTOR 1 blind again.
Yeah, I know, dude. Like
that is
like you got a head injury.
that is a topic that I've got on my backlog for party chat questions. So, but yeah, not today.
What do you mean not today? No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Not on today's agenda, but that is a question for future party chat. Dude is saying that do not play Elder Scrolls or Fallout games on PS3. They could not get the creation engine to work properly on that console. Did not know that. But he's also saying that, yeah, Obsidian was always given too short of a deadline to create games. They've made both KOTOR 2 and Fallout New Vegas in less than 2 years each. Yeah, it was a timing thing. So, but they've made those excellent games. And the other half of Melee Games. What's up, James? James is here. Second is the best if you play the correct side, aka the dark side. Yes, James is also
not the correct side.
James is also a defender of KOTOR 2 is the best.
Neither game is canonically dark side. You're just. But
canonically James, doesn't mean best.
And James, you're an incredible person, though. Still love you to death, buddy. Even though you're so wrong, it's not even funny.
But shout out to them. We were mentioning at the beginning of the show Bear Force 1. So that's Bear Force 1 right there is Melee James. Hot take.
Whoa.
Wade says he hates KOTOR 2. Whoa.
Wade, maybe just stick to making fun of me. Let's not go that far.
Yeah, James is like, who cares about canon? So,
well, not Disney. I mean, sorry.
Nope, you're very right.
Zing.
But very true. They do not care. So, All right. So 1, 18, 40. All right. We will get into so typically we go about 90 minutes due to Ryan and Mark's schedules. Do you but Mark is not here, and Ryan, JT, do you
No,
guys
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
do
good.
you
no,
got okay. Because if not, I will skip one of these and move on to my last one. But if
dude,
you
let's
guys
go for
got a little
2
bit more
hours.
time.
Let's go nuts.
All right,
2 and a
cool.
half, whatever.
There
Wait till
are
you get
only
all the questions, because didn't we miss one question last week?
yes, and that's the one that's if that has been on the topic. I've had this on the agenda probably like 4 streams, but we always run out of time, so I skipped this one. So we're doing it. We're doing it live. We're doing it today. So this is this
No,
next
you got
question.
to come on, man. I want to hear you say it. We're
No,
gonna do it live. Come on, man.
we're doing it
You
live.
said that you said dick earlier. Like,
But yeah, so this is a question that I've had on the party chat topics for a number of shows, but I've skipped it for time constraints. But we're going to get to it today. And so this one is, I'm very interested to hear the answers on this one because I have no idea where this is going to go. But for this next question, I want to know what's the weirdest, most obscure game that you've ever played. So I've got 2. I'm going to start with one that's less obscure because in a few Melee game streams, it's been mentioned a number of times. I'm like, I didn't know anybody else even knew this game existed. And then I'll save my more obscure one for after you guys go. But the game that kind of inspired this question for me was a Super Nintendo game that I had that I literally thought no one else knew existed until it got mentioned in a Melee game stream a couple months ago. And that is Plok. Plok. Have either of you ever heard of Plok?
No,
No.
sir.
Okay, I didn't think so. So it was a little platformer on Super Nintendo, and you play as this. He has a yellow. It's not even a body. It's more like a big shirt, and it's yellow. And he has 4 disembodied limbs that just float near his body, and they're red. And he looks like almost like boxing gloves and like rain boots. And his head almost looks like a red
I just
hood
say
with
rainbows,
eyes,
dude.
a red hood with eyes on it. It was really cutesy, but you go around and your attacks is um, you shoot your limbs at the enemies, your hands and your feet. So because they're disembodied, so you can shoot them out to do damage, and sometimes you can lose them and you have to go and regain them. So you're hopping around, you're just a body with no limbs, and you get like different power-ups to turn into different modes, and I think there are even some vehicles. I never actually beat the game, but I remember playing it as a kid, and I think it's one that I may go back to and play. I don't know if it has retro achievements on it. I'll have to look. But either way, it's one of those ones where I need to go back and play it again and relive some childhood memories. But yeah, Plok. It was actually PLOK exclamation mark was the legitimate title of the game. I think James knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was a very obscure game from my childhood that I didn't think anybody knew about. So that was the inspiration for the question. I'm wondering from you guys, what's a very weird or obscure game that you played that you don't think anyone else even knows exists?
What up, Jacob? Sorry.
Hey.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jacob Ironside, what's up, man? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a little while. Hope you are doing well. Oh, yep. See, James knows what I'm talking about. Plok has a banger soundtrack. I don't remember the music, but when I play it again, I'll definitely pay attention to that. But yeah, it was a fun little platformer game. So, do you guys have any weird or obscure games that you played that probably no one else or very few people have ever even heard of?
I do, but I'm looking one up right now. I briefly remember the name. It's been a while. I just want to make sure that I got the name right before I say it. So I actually mentioned one last week. Okay, yeah, that is right. Goodness. So one of the games I got into after becoming a fan of Silent Hill 2, I was in the army, was Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly. And it's where yes,
Never heard of it.
that game was freaky as hell. Like going, you turn the lights off, like going, you're walking around with your camera, and all of a sudden you like look, and it's like, and like it would be like all up in your face. It was craziness, man.
Wait,
It was craziness.
is it like a? You mentioned like Silent Hill, so it's like one of those like kind of survival horror games that you play through viewing it through a camera. Is that right?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
it's not 100% survival horror. It's more.
Camera's a weapon, right?
The camera
Kind of.
is is kind of a weapon, but it also actually it frees good spirits, but it hurts malevolent spirits. So like you'll see like maybe a spirit like kind of like floating around, and you put the camera up and you'll see that it transforms them, if I remember correctly, into what looks to be a good spirit, somebody who died tragically, and you take the picture, and if I remember correctly, they actually turn into butterflies and kind of fade away. Now the malevolent spirits are the ones that like you'll put the camera up, and all of a sudden it's like and it's right in your face, and you're like, whoa, exactly, yeah, you do that, yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I've ever heard the name of that game, but I think I might have seen pictures or videos of it in like a game list of something somewhere because that does sound familiar.
yeah, no, it's who made it? It's
Well,
I
oh,
think it's
was it
Konami.
was it
Don't hold me to
Xbox
that though.
PS2 era?
Yeah, it was Konami. Yeah.
It was PlayStation 2 era. Well, so the first one was yeah, is Xbox PS2, sorry. Um, so yeah, yeah, it was Konami, no, it was
It
Tecmo.
wasn't? No way.
Tecmo. Yeah, it's Tecmo.
I could have sworn. Wow.
Yeah, developer, publishers, Japan, North America, Tecmo. I
No
thought it was
kidding.
Konami too. My
Having one of
bad.
those
Yeah.
moments, it's like, oh my god, this
Did we just
changes
Mandela
everything.
affect this thing?
Yeah, a little bit. Um,
Um,
like, well, if you want to buy it, you're looking at you're looking at least $100
it's
for
one of
a
those
used one on eBay.
one of those moments
Wow.
where you always thought something was made by this one company or something, and all of a sudden, like decades later, you find it was a completely different company. It's like, oh my god, I never knew.
Yeah.
Mm,
I had a very
okay.
similar thing with movie related, but The Patriot. When I realized decades later that it was directed by Roland Emmerich, I was like, wait, are you serious? Because he's known for these schlocky, you know, fun movies, but they're not like really great movies like Stargate and Independence Day. Great movies that I freaking love, but they're not very, not considered high quality movies. Patriot's one of those like that is an excellent movie, and I found out decades later that was directed by Roland Emmerich, and I'm like, holy crap, that blows my mind. So it sounds like kind of like that what you guys just had with you thought it was Konami and it was
Yeah.
Tecmo.
Yeah, so here's the description real quick. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly is a Japanese survival horror video game, so it is a survival horror. By Tecmo in 2003 for the PlayStation 2. The second installment in the Fatal Frame series. It was released in North America December 10th, 2003. The EU April 30th, 2004, which is probably the reason I played it in that time frame because I was stationed in Germany when I played it. So
Ah,
even though it was an American base, it may not have came to the European Union until then.
okay. Yeah, and dude with his giant collection, he owns Fatal Frame 1 and 2 on Xbox.
Good on you, bro. Like, going,
No,
it's an incredible game.
Nice.
I want to find it.
he's got quite the collection, so that is unsurprising. Oh, and he's saying Fatal Frame 4 is a Japan exclusive on the Wii. 5 was a digital exclusive on the Wii U. I think they had a Switch release. And yeah, James is saying, I always wanted to try Fatal Frame on Switch, but I hear it's not great. And another good buddy, Dempsey. What's up, Dempsey? Good to see you. Welcome. New achievement unlocked. Buckets hold the darnest things. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming that's a lore,
That's aimed
Ryan
at
lore.
me. It's Ryan lore because Yeoman. Okay, so we have we're taking a break. We have a Star Trek Engage stream. Yeoman Taylor, she empties my bucket that if I have an emergency, I have to poo in.
Oh, your FedEx or your UPS bucket.
Is the UPS bucket? Yeah,
UPS.
you get food poisoning and you poo in a bucket because it's an emergency. Well, I'd rather poo in a bucket than freaking shit my pants.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Amen.
Neo's like going, he's like, damn, man, you just said it all up in here.
Well, we went into depth on that whole story a couple episodes ago. So,
Well, JT wasn't here.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I think I was.
Oh, you're probably in chat at the time.
I
You
think I
might have been
was,
in
yeah.
chat, dude.
This seems very familiar to me, actually.
Yeah. I'm just saying, most people pick, it's an emergency, go nuts.
So, what about you, JT? Do you have a very obscure or weird game that you don't think many people have heard of or know of?
So yeah, it would have been one prior to whenever Devolver decided to remake it, but the original Metal Wolf Chaos
I've
on
heard of that game.
yeah, they re-released it as Metal Wolf Chaos XD, but by Jolly, it was one of those games where I'm like, no one knows about this. Haha, this is mine. Um, but what I went through to play this game, I got a modded Xbox off of eBay that had Metal Wolf Chaos on it. Ooh, he bought a hacked device. Ooh, scary man. So this game was wild. Like, it's the president of the United States, and it was done by From Software. So I'm a
Oh,
big,
snap.
I'm a big Souls guy. So I got introduced probably Demon Souls. That was one of my biggies back then. But I'm like, From Software, what's this Metal Wolf Chaos? The U.S. president driving around a mech suit going against the vice president of the U.S., and it is just
Oh, I
absolutely
have
over
heard
the
about this game.
yeah, it's over the top. The dialogue is just insane. If you want to get a good overview of just how absolutely absurd the game is, Video Game Donkey has a pretty funny video, and he doesn't have to do much work to make his humor work. It's just so absurd. But it was one of those games I didn't hear about it until we were well into Xbox. Maybe towards the end of Xbox 360. But that game is something else. And then
Okay.
another one that comes to mind, you might know the series, but Alone in the Dark. I think I had that on Windows or DOS. It might have been DOS or like Windows
That
311.
franchise
Sounds
goes back
familiar.
that far?
Oh, it does. Yes, there
Oh,
was a
Alone
man.
in the dark.
isometric kind of horror um, point and click almost. I want to say it was kind of in that vein, but yeah, it went back way far. So I saw like all the remakes. I'm like, this is trash. Like the original was pretty awesome. Like it was awesome when I was a kid. I loved playing it, but would
I
have been around the time of like the original Sim City.
Okay. Yeah, wow, that goes way
Oh,
back.
I love the original
I
SimCity.
Yeah,
I had all those original the Sim City, Sim Farm, Sim Ant, Sim Tower. I had all those.
First
But
release, Alone in the Dark, 1992.
yep.
MS
wow,
DOS.
the first time
PC 9800 series.
It was wild. It
Wow.
was it was awesome for the time. Like I want to say there was faux 3D graphics and everything, and that wasn't a thing back then.
yeah,
There's Alone
folks,
in the Dark too in 93.
Hmm.
the first time I heard about Alone in the Dark, I think that was an Xbox 360 game.
Yeah,
That
probably
was
was.
I've never
Uh,
played or watched anything Alone in the Dark, but I think that was the first time I ever heard of the franchise. So I didn't know it went back
that
that far.
that would have been Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare, 2001.
Probably. Well, no, 2001. That would have been like original Xbox. 'Cause Xbox 360 came out in 2005.
Oh yeah, no, no. So it would have been it'd have been three. It was 360. It was Alone in the Dark 2008. Yeah.
That's probably the one I.
So yeah, The New Nightmare debuted on Darkworks for the by Darkworks for the PlayStation, Dreamcast, PC, and it got later ported to the PS2
Okay.
and Game Boy Color.
Oh, amazing.
Is it possible to have a scary game on Game Boy Color?
I don't know. Maybe if you turn the lights off and you turn the sound all the way up on the handheld.
Well, if the lights off, you wouldn't be able to see it. The Game Boy Color didn't, unless you
Oh,
had one of
that's
those
right. It did. Oh,
little lamp
boo.
things. Because it wasn't until the Game Boy Advance SP was the first one that was backlit.
Yeah, yeah. Which I still have my Advance SP.
I would have mine, but it got stolen. That's my favorite handheld. I love that thing.
Well, that's your fault. I'm just kidding.
Someone broke into my house and stole my stuff. How is that my fault?
I'm just giving you crap. He's like, hold on, bro.
All right, Ryan's disinvited. Goodbye.
Oh no.
Oh no, my internet went out too.
Victim blaming. But okay, so before I go into the actual the game I really want to talk about for weird, most obscure, uh, I want to go back to Wade was talking about KOTOR 2, and just make some clarification. He is talking about the gameplay and not the story, which I wouldn't say I hate at all KOTOR, either of them. I'll say I said I haven't played 2 yet, but I can understand that because I don't think KOTOR and it's basically the same game when it comes to combat. It's just the story is different
Mhm.
with new stuff in it. I don't think that the combat in KOTOR is very engaging, so that's why I've never been a huge fan of it. Fantastic story writing, though. Like you're saying, it's one of those greatest video game stories and arguably the greatest plot twist. I did not do that. That was not me. But one of the greatest video game plot twists of all time. Yeah.
My internet really went out too.
Your internet's
Okay,
doing it
so
now.
it's not just me. I love this.
I guess not.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't love
next?
it,
But
Because
yeah,
I was going to make a joke and be like, going, so your thoughts about the KOTOR's combat and why you're wrong. Would you like to tell us that?
but
It's like-
it um
and then it died.
but yeah, so he played KOTOR 1. But yeah, I can understand. I don't hate either games. It's just I don't think the combat was great, and that's why I don't think it's a top tier game. But it does have phenomenal writing and storytelling and one of the greatest plot twists of all time. So I definitely give it credit for that. And the reason why is because at the same time, there were the best Star Wars games of all time, and that's the Jedi Knight Kyle Katarn series, and those ones have fantastic combat, and those ones really make you feel like an actual Jedi.
Yeah, they're really
no
good.
other game has come close. The closest thing would be the recent Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, but they still don't hold a candle to Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy because nothing has come close to the saber combat in those games.
I know, and you can still have a double-bladed lightsaber, and you can have or dual-wielding lightsabers. It's like they're so good.
But yeah, so I just wanted to clear
And
that
you're
up.
still wrong, but they're so good.
No, you're wrong. But I just want to clear that up. And Wade is saying that that's why he doesn't like his because of combat, not for the story. But and then I think for what he was saying about games that have aged well, I'm guessing is what he's talking about is Empire at War RTS game. I was never really big into RTS games, but I have heard a lot of people say that is a great game. So and then I think James was also saying the Sonic Dreams collection has aged well. I believe that's what he's saying there. So, but anyways, and James is talking about once you play Jedi Academy, all other games pale in comparison. Yes, I'm right there.
Wow, when are you guys getting married?
I don't know. He has to break up with Dermy first.
Oh wow.
But anyways, one of the most weirdest and most obscure games that I've ever played is an Xbox One game that I have, and I got it because it was on sale for like 99 cents, and it was like a 5 to 6 hour completion estimate. So I was like, sure, I'll pick that up. And it's I had to write it down because the name is so weird, and it's called Gaijin Cherenji. I'm not sure how it's like Chinese or something. Kiss or Kill. And it's this really weird, like the closest thing you could call it is a twin stick shooter, but you're just like this little dot and you can switch between shooting hearts or shooting like, I don't know, lasers. And if you shoot hearts, you get positive karma. And if you shoot like the lasers, you get negative karma. And you have to beat the game by doing both, basically the light and dark side, essentially, if you're going to compare it to like a Star Wars game. And like there's the cutscenes in between levels are like actual FMV footage of like this dude wearing like this, he's like in a hoodie and he's wearing almost like a V for Vendetta mask, and he's like taking apart like a Game Boy and he's hooking it up to like tubes, and he's like injecting it into his arm and like into his shoulder. It's like, what the heck is going on here? It's got this really creepy music, and the scenes are like cutting in and out almost like it's a horror movie. And I think the boss of the game is a disembodied head of Saddam Hussein, and his mouth moves like a South Park character from Canada where the mouth comes disconnected from the head. It is the weirdest thing I have ever seen and ever played. And you go back and forth between these levels that you're just dodging things that are shooting at you to like shooting like people who are walking around in a village. And it goes back and forth between like this really creepy music and this really like upbeat, like Japanese J-pop music. It is the weirdest thing I've ever played. And so I absolutely had to mention that because this is like such a weird game. So yeah, Gaijin Cherenji Kiss or Kill. You have to go look it up. It is so weird. But it was a pretty
You're the
short,
only
quick
person who's ever
completion.
played that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
kind of
well,
need it now.
Yeah.
A bunch of other people on Xbox have all played it because it was so cheap and it's a short completion, so it's got a lot of players on Xbox. But outside of that, yeah, there's probably no one who's ever even heard of or seen this game. It is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So if that sounds interesting to you, go check that out. I don't recommend it, but it is very weird. I don't even know if it exists on Steam. I'm sure it probably does. But yeah, that was another game that I had to mention for weirdest, most obscure game you've ever played. And hey, we got
how do you spell that?
Gaijin, Gaigin, and then Cherenji is Charenji, and then Kiss or Kill. So while you're looking that up, we've got a new face in the chat I don't believe I've ever seen before. Is C Big Dog 999. Hello, yo, what's up? Welcome, and
it is on Steam.
It is on that. I would assume it would be on Steam, but hello, welcome. Big Dog. I've not seen
you some weird stuff, man.
Welcome. Like I said, I'd never heard of it. You're buying it. I'm selling people on it right now.
Yeah, man.
How much is it on Steam? Is it on sale or is it full price?
Let me.
Because it was on sale on Xbox for 99 cents, and that's why most of us picked it up, and it's a short completion. So that's why most of the Xbox people know about it.
It's $3.99, so I think it's worth.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not too shabby. I'm watching the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready? Sure, you're not.
So while you guys are looking that up, James is
saying, why does it look like you're swimming around like a sperm?
The levels are all over the place. They're weird. Yeah, there's some levels where you're like fighting butterflies, and yeah, it's weird.
Dude, seriously, are you watching this trailer, JT?
It's something. Wow.
I don't know.
This is perfect, man.
You gonna go stream it now?
Yes, I am.
The weirdest thing in the history of the world.
You're welcome.
I am into this.
Let me know when you stream it. I want to watch you stream that game.
I'm about to say I'll let you stream it first, and then I'll play Sperm Game after.
Yeah, I'll be a little Spermington for your viewing enjoyment. Oh my gosh,
what is that?
This is wild.
Very weird. So James is saying, "Well, Jeremy cheated on me with Yellow Flash last night." So all right. And then
we were just talking about certain things, so
I don't think I'd agree to take Derby's sloppy seconds. I think that level of stupidity would be gracious. And okay, Melee K is getting us back on track with a weird, obscure game. Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs, the thrilling, steamy maze Kiwami. That sounds like a porn game if I ever heard one. Yeah, I'm sure James and Kay have a lot of those weird games that most people never heard of because he's been gifted a lot of them by some less than savory people. And so they have to stream those off of typical streaming platforms at times, but I'm assuming that's what that is. Definitely sounds like that. But dude, there's 3 of you. This is perfect, bros. Yes, we have a lot of. Oh, you're coming in from Twitch. Well, hello and welcome. Yeah, we talk about fun video game topics here on Party Chat. And so, yeah, right now we're currently getting off topic, but we're talking about some of the weirdest, most obscure games you played. And I sold JTPXL on a new weird game. So yes, and JT put it in here. This is how it's spelled. Gaijin Cherenji Kiss or Kill. If anyone is interested in looking that game up. And Kay is saying I still need to beat it. That Kiwami steamy maze game. It's a roguelite RPG. But interesting. Okay.
Oh, that came out in 24 as well. It's not old.
It's a brand new game.
Yeah.
Oh.
January 17th, 24 on Steam.
Only been out a couple months. Okay.
Huh.
Cool. Well, that actually went a lot longer than I thought I was going to go for that topic. So we'll get into our last topic for the day. And that is, I've been making it a habit to make one of these questions into each of the last few episodes of Party Chat. And that is talking about like your favorite. Right now, we're going through the different generations of consoles. And right now we're on the 7th generation. So we were talking about what is your favorite 7th gen console game, which includes the Xbox 360, PS3, or Wii, or equivalent games that came out at the same time on PC. because not everyone is or was a console gamer at that time. So it does include PC, but games of that era. And then once we get through the current generation, I'll be replacing this with something similar, but we won't be going through console generations. We might be going through like favorite game from X publisher or whatever. Yeah, so for today, our last question is talking about our favorite game from the 7th generation. So I think we probably already touched on all of them, but let's see if I'm pretty sure I know what Ryan's is going to be. So let's go with JT first and see what his favorite game of that generation was, if you have it.
Yeah, so PS3 is going to be Demon Souls.
Okay.
No other reason than I just had a heck of a lot of fun with it, and it kind of exposed me to, stuff like Elden Ring and Dark Souls. I love those games. So From Software has become one of my absolute favorite game devs around, publishers, devs, whatever they are these days.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
on 360, Mass Effect, I'm
Which one? Just all of them?
all of them, but 2 is my favorite.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm with you on the multiplayer for 3. That is some fun stuff. But just as far as, a video game experience, I don't think it gets much better than Mass Effect 2 on the 360. And I didn't like the Wii that much.
Okay. Yeah, motion controls, definitely a gimmick. Wasn't for everyone. I know a lot of people were not fans of the motion controls. I liked it. Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk a couple questions ago. I was going to bring up because we had already moved on to the next question. But while we were talking about games that have aged incredibly well over the years, I forgot to mention, dude, Metroid Prime is another game that aged very well. You can still go back and play, not even the remaster that they put on Switch recently. You go back and play the original GameCube version. It still holds up. Excellent game.
For sure.
I totally forgot to mention that earlier because, Metroidvania is my favorite franchise or favorite genre, and I love the Metroid Prime games. So, but yeah, James is saying that Halo 3, favorite game from that generation. Excellent pick. That is my favorite Halo game. Definitely right. I love that game. But for me, as no surprise, I've already mentioned it like 2 or 3 times already. But my favorite game of all time is from 360, and that is Mass Effect 3. I love the heck out of it, and I still play it to this day. I haven't played the story in a number of years. I have played it plenty of times, but I still play the multiplayer to this day. And I'm probably not going to play the 360 story again anytime soon, but I will be playing through the entire trilogy in the Legendary Edition at sometime, probably within the next year. Because it's been too long since I played through any of them, and I haven't played the Legendary Edition yet, so I'm looking forward to playing that. But yeah, the entire franchise, it's my favorite video game franchise of all time, and all 3 of them were 360 games. It's funny how you get an entire trilogy of games on one console generation, and then you don't get, you may go a couple generations without getting any game. Kind of along those lines is like Dead Space. All 3 of them were on 360. Gears of War 3 had a whole trilogy on 360. So lots of good stuff on 360. But yeah, Mass Effect 3 and the next. If I had to pick a runner up, I don't know, but I'll think about that while we go to Ryan with his favorite, which I'm thinking I might already know since we might have already talked about it. But is there what
the reason? And this is going to be my runner-up. The reason I actually bought a PlayStation 3 is because I wanted to play Uncharted. It was an awesome game. I loved it. However, the game I remember the most, the one that really captivated me, was Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
Oh,
That
okay.
is one that I played until like I was blue in the face. I did everything. I was everywhere. Like I even got infected with vampirism because, quite frankly, it made you even more badass. Like it kind of sucked it a certain thing, but it was oh man, it was so great. Going to doing all the DLCs, going to show up. He's got it's his turn for internet issues. Shea Gorath, and getting the amber armor was incredible. Like that game sticks out flat out as my absolute one that I remember the most from the PlayStation 3.
Okay, because I figured you were going to go with the New Vegas.
No, no, no. I love me some New Vegas, and I think that Oblivion is better than Skyrim.
Yeah, they each
Preach.
have their own. I played a heck of a lot of Oblivion, but I ended up playing more Skyrim than I did Oblivion. I love them both, but if I had to pick one, I'd probably say Skyrim. So that's definitely
Noob,
up there in my favorite
noob.
N64 favorite 360 games.
You said
Um,
N64. Wow,
uh,
that noob thing got to you, huh?
but yeah, looking at a couple others because I do have a list on my True Achievement page of some of my favorite Xbox games, and a lot of them are from the 360. Also, Portal 2, excellent, one of the best puzzle games of all time. Excellent, fantastic game, and one of my top favorite Metroidvanias that came out on the 360. Now is Shadow Complex. I love that game. And then the sequel to a game I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned it earlier. Oh yeah, on games that aged incredibly well is Ninja Gaiden Black. Sequel, Ninja Gaiden 2 was an excellent game, and that was a 360 game. Yeah, those are some of the top tier games of that generation for me. So, yeah, James is saying Halo 3, and oh yeah, and he's saying that Uncharted was another trilogy that was contained to an entire console generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, JT saying the internet hates me today.
Yeah, 1 through 3 was awesome. I loved all of them. I still haven't played 4. I know I need to play 4, but I also had a little bit of some of that Anita Sarkeesian touch just sprinkled in.
Which one are you talking about right now?
Uncharted 4.
Uncharted 4. Okay.
Yeah, so it went from Drake having a son to a daughter. And of course that's when, kind of Gamergate kind of stuff. They're like, "Well, why do you care?" And it's like, going, "Well, why did you care?"
Yeah, why did you care enough to you had to change it to turn their
He had
argument
a
back on
son,
them?
like going, it wasn't a big deal, and then it's like going, well, we changed it to a girl. Why?
Yeah.
Because he cared, didn't you?
Yeah.
You bent. I hate that woman so much.
Yeah, understandable. That's like why go changing things that are already established.
Yeah,
But yeah, James saying Oblivion was a great game for memes. So
It
Facts.
was.
a lot of memes came out of Mass Effect as well. But yeah, and Dude is saying some of his favorites from that generation: Halo 3, God of War 3, and Metroid Prime 3. That's a great set of part 3s and trilogies. And Twilight Princess, if it didn't put it out as a 6th gen game, because yeah, that was a launch title on Wii, but it was also a GameCube game as well.
yeah, it was a launch title on Wii. It was
I
so
love that
Galaxy and Twilight Princess were the first ones I actually played on Wii.
So, but yeah, excellent picks. So, all right. Well, that will do it for today on we're on 19 of Party Chat. Before we head on out here, what do you guys got going on? Anything to plug? Anything to show?
Dude, I'm watching WrestleMania. That's all I'm doing.
Is that
Same.
is that
It's
this weekend?
WrestleMania?
Yeah, it's WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's
dude,
what you do.
I'm so excited. Like I have not been this excited for wrestling in like probably couple, like 6, 7, 8 years. Like very excited.
Cool. Yeah, I did not even know until you mentioned it because I don't follow wrestling at all. But
We
speaking
should.
of wrestling,
Just kidding.
I don't know anything about wrestling, so it wasn't on my channel. But my co-host of Top 5, Jason, over on his channel, did the most recent episode of Top 5 this last Thursday, I believe it was, on his channel. And Melee James and Melee K were on there as his guests, and they were ranking their top 5 WrestleMania matches. So if you guys want to go watch that, I will put the link to that in the stream after the fact. But go check
Good Lord,
them.
James.
Go watch them rank their favorite WrestleMania matches of over the years. So James saying I'm not excited at all, but we'll be watching.
No, it's the next one that, yeah. No, you skipped it. And getting excessively
And
drunk.
getting
I was like,
excessively
good
drunk.
Lord, dude.
Dude saying WrestleMania 2000 N64 just got Chivos on retro achievements the other day. Oh, cool. Yeah. I won't be playing that because I'm not into wrestling games.
WrestleMania 2000 on the 64 was excellent.
I've heard that there were a lot of great wrestling games from back in those days.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
man. WrestleMania 2000, WWF No Mercy. My personal favorites: WWF SmackDown on the PlayStation 1, SmackDown 2, Know Your Role. It was. I mean, we were in the Attitude Era. We were eating good on wrestling games. Even WCW, we were eating
Oh,
good.
I love WCW versus NWO World Tour
Yeah, we
on the
were eating good, dude.
64. Oh man.
No, I'm an Attitude Era kid.
Yeah.
Like I started with the Monday Night Wars, so that's one reason that I am so all in on this weekend. I know that Neil's like, I don't understand any of that, but like,
I
it's
watched
just
wrestling for about a year because my roommate in college was into it, but that was about it. So I've got very little knowledge of it. But I did go and find the link to the that top episode of Top Five where they were ranking the WrestleMania matches. And I dropped it in the chat, so you can go check out that stream and
that's right, James. That's right.
go give my co-host of Top Five, Jason, go give him a sub on his channel. Let's help him bump up those numbers because we're going to be basically alternating for episodes of Top Five. Video game stuff will be on my channel, and then anything not video game will be on his channel because he wants to do stuff related to movies and music. And so I'll definitely be on those ones. But ones that I have like no knowledge on, there was no point in me being on a WrestleMania match when I've only seen like one WrestleMania in my life. So, but yeah, go help Jason bump up his numbers and give him some watch time. So, all right. So does that mean you don't have any other streams going on today, Ryan?
No, I don't have any other streams going on today. And not tomorrow either. What we're gonna be doing House of the Dragon on Monday night, but we're definitely taking the weekend off. Again, if I can't tell, I feel kind of like a kid in the candy store again. If I love the coining of the Renaissance era for what's going on in wrestling right now. It's kind of like the golden age meets the Attitude Era, and it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. 2 nights are gonna be great.
So cool. And James is saying that SmackDown 2 is his favorite game, favorite wrestling game of all
That's
time.
what I said. I was like, yes, sir.
Yeah, and he had a great time over on Jason's channels doing the top five. So I put the link to it in the chat, and then I'll drop it in the stream description as well, so you can go link over to that and watch it. And he's asking me what WrestleMania did I watch. I have no idea. It was around 2010. I'd have to go back and take a look because I have no idea. But I will get back to you on that. So
Probably John Cena was gonna be in it. I guarantee that one.
I'm pretty sure I remember because John Cena was, I don't know if that was at the height of his wrestling career, but he was in a lot of
Uh,
stuff then.
yeah, it was the height of it. Well, I mean, he was having a pretty high run. It was probably John Cena, CM Punk, because this
CM
was
Punk was big at the time too. I do remember that.
yeah, because The Rock came back in 2011 as like special guest host for WrestleMania, and then
Okay,
of
it had to
course
be
that's
before
when
that because I never saw The Rock actually wrestle.
yeah, no, and that's when The Rock and John Cena kind of kicked off, and we had The Rock and CM Punk and stuff like that. So yeah,
I don't know if it was a WrestleMania, but I remember seeing at the end of one of the ones we watched, what's his name, the gigantic dude, Brock
Big Show.
Lesnar showed up.
Oh, Brock Lesnar.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was WrestleMania, but I remember Brock Lesnar showing up, and I think he was making a return. I don't know because I know he was in like UFC at the time or something. Um, maybe
That
that'll.
would actually probably make sense because he actually he had what's called diverticulitis in his guts, and it's something that being punched in the stomach, it could actually you know
Yeah,
end
that
his
ends
life.
poorly. Yeah.
It ends very poorly.
Oh.
So
James saying, would have been one I didn't watch. And
yeah, that was
he's saying
probably actually
Shawn
yeah,
Michaels
that's probably
retirement
pretty
match.
close to it.
Shawn Michaels retirement match is likely what I saw. I don't remember if I ever saw him wrestle. I do know the name though.
Because I think Ric Flair was 2009 his retirement match when Shawn Michaels said I'm sorry and super kicked him.
I know that name. I never saw him wrestle either. So it was
Ric
definitely
Flair?
after that.
Oh
Sir,
man.
sir, we need to talk. We need to have a
Kate,
conversation.
Legend.
Kay is saying that it's probably WrestleMania 26. I'll look that up later and I'll get back to you guys on Discord to see,
We're gonna turn
see
you.
if I can figure it out.
Look, you just get the Peacock app, all right? You start watching wrestling.
Watching it
I
on the
mean,
cock.
JT, what decade would you? I'm sorry, what year would you recommend he probably start watching around?
Oh man. Late 90s. Late 90s was good. Like mid 90s, late 90s.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to get into the thick of it, I'd probably recommend around 96 and
Wow.
then and
Yeah.
then watch a
Way
good
back.
chunk of that, and then you could actually go back to the golden years. But Neo started in 98. 98's a great suggestion,
Yeah,
James. Seriously.
James is like, we gotta get Neo into wrestling. Yeah, and he's saying start in 98.
Well, I mean, oh,
90.
dude,
Oh, Kay is saying
hold on
90s
real
or
quick.
early
JT,
2000s.
you want to we do something called, well, it was called Wednesday Night SmackDown. A stream between myself, Joker Voice, Tyler the Redbeard, and Left Eye Ego. We've what do we rename it? It's going to be Wednesday nights overbooked because WrestleMania is so booked. But anyway, yeah, we're doing it this Wednesday, dude. It's 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to come on, we're talking about the events of WrestleMania.
Okay. Yeah.
I may be around. Hit me on Twitter. I'll
Okay,
let you
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, I followed you back on Twitter, so yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay.
Neil's like,
Okay,
all right,
saying
moving on.
WrestleMania 17 and everything leading up to it. So, but yeah, this is not a wrestling podcast. This is a video game
It is
podcast.
now.
So I know
Neo's
everyone
now a
has
super fan.
everyone loves the wrestling, and anytime like any stream that I'm watching, anytime wrestling gets mentioned, like everyone like goes nuts. That and anime, which I also know very little about, but I do have more knowledge on anime than I do on wrestling. But anyways, JT, what do you got to plug? You got anything coming up you want to mention?
Just my normal streams. Check the link tree. I mean, I'm not doing anything anytime recently. My work schedule is a little nuts, and I'm going to be doing business traveling. So Twitter's the best place if you're into me and what I do. Check me out.
Okay. I did preload his link into the stream description, so you can click on that and get his link tree to get all of his links to all of his different where all the places that he is online. So, yeah, I don't really have much coming up this next week. I'll probably do an open mic on Thursday, but I don't have anyone lined up yet. So we will see about that. But yeah, I did a bunch this week. So I had an open mic this last Thursday with Edgewood. So you can go check that out. Or Dude and I did our most recent episode of Achievement Chasers last night if you want to hear us talk about achievements. And yeah, if you go check out the WrestleMania matches on Jason Tons of Fun's channel. And then I have been meaning to do a roulette stream for a while, and I haven't gotten to it yet. So I may be doing that this afternoon at some point. We shall see, and let the wheel decide when I'm going to play. And that's all inspired thanks to James and his Steam Roulette. I've been wanting to do something like that for a while, just haven't gotten around to it. So we shall see if I do something like that today. But yeah, that will do it for episode 19. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for coming on, JT, and making this another fun episode. Thank you, everyone in the chat, as always. Dude, James, Kay, Jerry Crow. Who else was here? Shaka Zulu, C Big Dog 99, Psychotic Mongoose, Dempsey, R2, Jacob Ironside, Wade, and I think I got everyone. But thank you all for hanging out with us for 2 hours while we talk about dumb video game stuff. And we will see you in a couple weeks for the very next episode, episode 20. And with that, have a great weekend. Everyone who's watched WrestleMania, enjoy. We'll catch you next